at this point, you know, the gloves are off.
You knew, and you're taking advantage of the situation.
How unprofessional is that to smash a keyboard?
I didn't like the way that he did it.
First of all, I don't trust anybody. Let's just start with that.
It's funny because after I had the conversation with Dave, I would have never thought that I would have gotten any type of, you know, bad feedback from him.
Welcome back to another episode of Gray Market Podcast. I'm here today with a couple members of the Luxury Bazaar / Gray Market team. I'm going to start off with Adrian. As you can see, we have a new set. We're trying something new. If you are listening to this in audio only, please excuse the sounds. This is a working environment, people coming and going. We wanted to do it out here because it's just more natural and I prefer it. Adrian, how's it going today?
It's going good. This is a very interesting concept considering the fact that we usually have an acoustic room with all types of cameras and equipment. We're kind of in the middle of the lobby where people all walk in and you can hear Roman talking, you can hear my dad talking, you can hear a lot of things.
I wonder what we're going to hear first. Is it going to be Tanya screaming or Kevin laughing?
Oh, see, I think we'll hear Kevin first.
Yeah,
we'll hear Kevin first. He's
Kevin
back from
first.
lunch, so.
We should bet on that. A lot of people saw the episode, you know, this past week where you did one-on-ones with a lot of the team members, and obviously we've seen a lot of the comments.
Yeah.
One of the comments I've seen, you know, pretty often is that this should have been kept private. It's not something that you should make public. Now, obviously our response to this is always like, we try to be as transparent as possible. We want to show how this business works, what we do. How do you respond to things like this?
Well, again, obviously we've opened our doors to the whole watch community and YouTube community as a whole. So I think at this point, you know, the gloves are off. We pretty much show everything that we can show. In fact, that scene was not supposed to be, or those scenes were not supposed to be filmed at all.
That's fine.
I had a legitimate sales meeting, and because it's the last quarter, I wanted to sit down with each individually and kind of go through their strengths, their weaknesses, what we need to work on, how I can help them. And then here comes Cam with the camera, right?
I'm guessing he didn't have enough content, so he jumped in there.
He came with the camera, and the sales guys, I actually asked them first, are you comfortable filming this? I asked them if they're comfortable, and they said they would love
I mean,
it.
look, most of their life in here is on camera and visible to the public. There are certain things that, you know, they might not be comfortable with. Like one of the things that got a lot of heat was your treatment of David, you know, that he's post-stroke, you know, how could you, you know, run him down like this? How could you threaten him with, like, you know, his performance needs to increase, blah, blah, blah. Like, again, I think in full transparency, full honesty, like, it's a conversation you were having with him one-on-one. I mean, shit happens. Tell me what you think about it.
Yeah, so with Dave, and especially filming Gray Market or anything, or any show that you watch on cable TV, people really only see the tip of the iceberg, right? They only see that scene and they take everything that happened in that scene and they drive a narrative based off that. What they don't see is the daily conversations that I have with him and the team. And the fact that we're in contact, me and Dave, from morning, throughout the day here at Luxury Bazaar, and at night. My phone is never off. My phone is never off for them. We're a team here. We help each other. In fact, they're friends of mine, each individual person. So, and they know not to take me in a way that they think that I'm trying to hurt them or put them down. In fact, it's funny because after I had the conversation with Dave, I would have never thought that I would have gotten any type of, you know, bad feedback from him, because I thought that I was very honest with him. In my experience, I find that if you're not 100% on the same page with somebody, you're not honest with them, and that they're not going to improve. And Dave knows that this is a hyper-competitive environment, that there are people gunning for a spot. I mean, no joke, probably 10 to 15 resumes a day of people wanting to come work, because at the end of the day, this is a fantastic environment to work in. It's a great career. And in the back of his mind, he knows that there's people gunning. And the last thing we want to do is make any type of shifts or changes, because I hate doing that. I don't want to fire anybody. We have a team. We have a core network of individuals. So I told him, listen, man, this is the truth. You were rocking and rolling. Yes, you had the stroke. Now, the stroke was a very unfortunate thing. It was a health scare. But at the end of the day, it's like, I can't use that. And I don't think he wants my sympathy long term.
Absolutely.
He knows his capabilities. He knows what he's able to do. Why would I put him down? I feel it's me putting him down, still using it as a crush for him. He's way past that.
Plus, a lot of people take it out of context. I mean, they see one little clip. It might not even been the entire conversation. Obviously, you have, like you said, multiple conversations with him throughout the day. And I'm sure a lot of them are motivational, inspirational, and just like helping him, you know, become better. The idea is not to like knock somebody down. You know, the resumes that we get, like, and it's funny you said that, like, that how good this environment is, opposed to the comments that we get on every video.
Oh,
like,
man,
what a toxic environment. Like, how could these people work? When are, you know, some of the top sales people going to go out and open up their own company? Like, people don't really see the day to day.
Of course not.
I mean,
Of
we
course
try to
not.
show it as much as possible.
We try to show it as much as possible. And the funny thing about it is I'm never afraid to obviously speak my mind here. And yeah, maybe I act in some cases not in the most traditional sense in the corporate environment. But although we are corporate and we have structure here, we are a little bit unique in what we do. First off, how many businesses out there are showing their day-to-day? Not very many, right? So there's nothing to hide. So I feel it's important, and I actually felt after the fact of having those one-on-ones that it's important for their customers to see how they really are.
Yeah.
What they need to work on, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. In fact, it's always the YouTube comments and people that I believe are haters that have the negative stuff to say.
Yeah.
After the episode aired on Wednesday, at 6 o'clock, we were sitting at dinner with my family. I was with my little one, with my wife, her parents, and I got a phone call from a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, also a client of ours, CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You would think he understands corporate strategies and how to maneuver in these environments and how management works and all these systems works. He called me and he said, you know what, you did a better job than seasoned professionals more than I've seen, and like he said, you do a better job than most people I know, than 99% of people.
Yeah. I mean, because for most people, it's just a job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just work. They come in, they clock out.
Yeah, there's no emotional attachment.
Yeah, they don't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, in a lot of situations, the company is so big that one person's, efforts are not going to change things too much. Here, every individual's efforts like really matter. Like whether it's one salesperson, whether it's one data entry person, like if somebody fucks up, it can actually cost the company money. Where you take a company like Oracle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they don't give a shit.
I mean, they shift, big corporate companies. My wife works for Merck, a big pharmaceutical company. She worked for other companies prior. When it comes to middle management, they move parts like Legos.
Yeah.
And one person leaves, it's not going to move the needle for the company. Yeah, if the CEO leaves or something happens with supply chain or something drastic happens in that environment, here it's like you pull out one thread and the whole thing can unravel.
It's still a small business.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how much money we make, it's still a small business.
Absolutely. So
another topic I wanted to just talk about, and I don't want to get political, but obviously the world that we're living in today, the things that are going on, it's been 6 days since this war started. Have you felt any effects in like the business that we do? Is there anything that and I don't know if there is, I'm just asking this, completely blind. I don't know if anything has changed, transaction wise, are people buying, selling like nothing's changed?
Morale definitely changed for a short period, especially amongst the dealer community, because there are a lot of people in our community that have close ties with Israel. People that sell watches and jewelry, a lot of them are of Jewish descent and Israeli and Muslim as well. So it's definitely a very uncomfortable situation that's happening. I would say from the consumer standpoint, I've gotten a ton of positive feedback and negative feedback because what actually had happened was, when this first happened, what I don't really like to do on Instagram, but first off, I try to keep as much of my personal life out of Instagram as possible, even though I throw some stuff in there that's fun and I want people to see. When this all unfolded, I decided to take a step back and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to be reactive. Like normally I'm really reactive towards stuff, and I'm actually working on that, reading some books, I'm doing some therapeutic stuff for myself to not tap into my limbic system, as they say, and immediately react. I'm trying to actually think things through, and this is actually one of the things that I tried to do. And I got shit for it.
Yeah, you can't win. I mean,
I was literally gonna post something nice, something just, wishing everything good for people in Israel and for people to kind of come together and just seeing all the amazing things that people have done. And as I was about to post that, I got bombarded with people saying like, oh, your silence is violence and all this type of crazy stuff. And then when I posted something, I got the other end of the stick.
Yeah, you definitely can't win. I mean, like, again, typically we don't want to get into politics, and I'm not trying to get political here at all. I just wanted to see if it's affected, our business. And again, it's affected people. Yeah. People all over the world, it's affected them. Now, I personally, like, I have a hard time, like, sitting here and doing work, thinking of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like,
and a lot of people
so I'm wondering if people are doing this or having the same issues.
I think, I don't know if I noticed it to a scale where it's really affecting us. I mean, the phones are still ringing off the hooks. The sales guys are busy. I'm busy. I don't see the workflow changing in any capacity. Now, naturally, of course, I would think that people would kind of want to sit on the sidelines for a little bit to make any type of crazy purchase. But no, I have not really seen anything drastic.
Okay, good to know. And I'm sure we're going to get a ton of fucking heat for this little question here in this video. I mean, the fact that we're not taking one stand or another, again, we're going to get heat from everybody. People that know us know our stance, and we're not going to make it public.
My stance is very simple. I'm for peace and against terrorism.
I'm anti-terrorism, you know.
It's just all it is. It's that simple. It's nothing personal.
You know, where I'm from, and you know, again, what I support is pretty clear. But ultimately, I support peace and living without fear.
We support life here. This is.
Anything else you want to bring up about last week's episode? I mean, there were a couple things in there. I wanted to bring Marco in to talk to him about.
Is this a test if I saw the episode or not?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch the entire episode either. I skimmed through it to make sure it's all good.
No, Viv knows that Wednesdays at 4:00 Eastern time is when Gray Market drops, so she likes to watch Daddy on the TV. Is there anything that I wanted to bring up? Just, you know, I seem to be the punching bag for stuff that goes down at Gray Market, because Roman is what I like to call the cheerleader here. You know, there's an interesting concept. He's a cheerleader. Roman's a very jolly, positive, charismatic guy. You know, he's always smiling on his face, always upbeat. And I'm what they like to call the poet. I'm the realist that likes to bring people, you know, back to center. And we have that good dynamic that helps. He pulls me up, I pull him down, and we somehow meet in the middle, and that's where success happens. And what I even through all that, one of the things that I hate is when people will try to interfere and send me messages directly and just talk bad about the individuals upstairs, right? Like, don't let Alex use his what he's going through personally as an excuse. I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
It's unnecessary. But
yeah,
you know, most of these comments are complete fucking bullshit.
That's crazy, and it's always those people are the ones that are never going to be your supporters, friends. Definitely not the customers of yours. No. That's for sure. And we've seen that. It's like, the customers who give us positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement, they do it in person. They'll literally text me, they'll call me, and we have a relationship together. And those are the people that I listen to. Those are the people that give the feedback that matters.
Actually, I wanted to ask, I wanted to talk to Roman about this. I haven't gotten a chance to. Like, I guess a bigger question is, like, how does it affect you to have everything you do at work be so public? Like, again, imagine you're an attorney, you work for a firm. Nobody knows what you're doing. You know, here, everything you do is available to the public and the public's feedback. So whether positive or negative, obviously positive is preferred, but we get way more negative feedback than we do positive. You know, how does it affect your life? Like,
would you believe me if I told you it affects it in a positive way? And I thought about this long hard, and here's why, is that I don't have to hide myself when I'm doing a deal with somebody. In other words, when somebody contacts me for the first time, I feel like they already know who I am. I don't have to pretend or be something that I'm not, because a lot of times what you'll see, especially in our industry or in any industry, people button up, they tailor up, and it's not them. Everything you see here, this is how we dress, how we act, what we say, what we talk. We try to keep it as professional and friendly as possible, but at the same token, a lot of people can relate to us. You know, I feel like I don't have to, and some people call in, mostly give positive reinforcement. I don't have to play any type of game and speak a certain way, even though I try to be professional. It's a positive.
I mean, I haven't looked at it from that point of view. Like, it gives you freedom to really be who you are. Where, like, typically people put on their suit or whatever clothing they wear, they go to the office and they have this fake persona that this is my office persona. Once I get out, I'm somebody else. So, you know, again, I know, like, a lot of people in the corporate world, it's not really them at work. It's
not at all.
They're smiling,
Trust me, it's not.
Talking, it's not who they are. Whereas here, this freedom gives you no option. I mean, it is who you are. I mean,
Absolutely.
I remember when we first started, like, you know, Marco was getting a lot of heat. Like, oh, he's so cocky, like, and he came to me and said, like, hey, you know, I kind of need to do something. I need to, like, fix my image. Like, people are not liking me.
Don't do that.
I said, like, no, you gotta like 10x that. Like, this is who you are. Let people know who you are. Sure, you might be cocky because you're young and you know more than, you know, the average individual. That gives you a right to not be cocky, but to be confident. You want to come off as confident, not cocky. And, like,
Absolutely.
You don't have to be liked. You just have to be respected. You know.
Well, I think that's one of the things. I kind of fall into that category where people either really like me or really hate me. There's really nothing in between, because I come off in a certain way because I'm, a loose cannon, as they say, or I'm a bully or a bulldog. But somehow, most people want to deal with me. because they know that they're getting the real thing, and they know that I always pull through from with however I present myself. There's one thing for sure: I never did anybody wrong, and people have full confidence when dealing with me, and that's all I care about. I was watching this Patrick Bet-David podcast about Tom Brady. Did you see that podcast? Yeah. Great podcast. And he was up on stage, and one of the things he was talking about was Tom Brady, like Michael Jordan. I'm not trying to compare myself, by the way. It's an interesting concept where them suited up were not themselves. Yeah. In other words, they got so lost in their craft, they would yell, they would scream, they got so passionate because their whole thing was to succeed, do the best that they can, and make others around them better. And I feel like I'm the same way. This work is my life, and life is my work. When I step out of here, I'm not that same person. You know, I'm calm, I'm friendly, I'm completely different. Here, this is a game-like mentality. Yeah. And if you don't treat your business or anything that you do professionally as with a sense of urgency, then you're gonna fail, especially in a hyper-competitive environment, especially in a market that's a little volatile. The stakes are high.
Makes sense. I like
the better question is how do they feel about me when they call in? Because some people call in.
Either hate you or love you.
Some people will call in, and in the first conversation, it's like, oh, you're a lot nicer than I thought. So they already have that wrapped up in their head that I'm going to be, I don't know, aggressive towards them or belittle them in some type of way. So they already go in with that mindset, nervous. And that gives me an edge in a weird way because they can't get one. Not that I want that. Not that I want to have an upper hand on anybody that we work with, but
you get to give them the real you. Yeah. And that's not always what people see like on the screen. I mean, like, again, a lot of people have outbursts. A lot of people have like, emotional explosions or whatever you want to call it. That's not who you are when you're talking to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, so it's nice to hear the fact that like when you get on the phone with somebody, they're like shocked, like, oh, you're not gonna like curse me off, tell me to go fuck myself, like why would
that's crazy.
Do that?
I was never portrayed like that in my whole entire life in any capacity with friends in school or anything that I ever did in sports, especially. Actually, in sports, I used to break a lot of rackets, but that was different. that was me being hard on myself.
I wish we had footage of that. We'd throw that in here.
Yeah, I used to have a stack of rackets in my garage that I used to break. My dad used to collect them and show me what an idiot I was. But no, I can't say I snapped as many keyboards, which that you see, even that moment right there was like, for me, the biggest question mark as to what happens to the company and myself after that. How unprofessional is that to smash a keyboard? And I still look back and I'm like, that was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever done. But that almost became like a badge of honor in a sense, right? It somehow identified me, made for great content, and obviously that was not supposed to be seen. That wasn't even during work hours. Yeah. That was like nobody was here. There was a camera in my office and there was a file, the most important file that I was ever working on. Imagine if somebody out there is an author and they're writing the next Harry Potter novel and they don't have their shit backed up, but they were working on something that was a gold mine and you just went deleted.
Jesus Christ.
How can you not want to smash a keyboard at that moment,
Yeah, it's happened. So, all right, well, thank you for taking some time.
I have a question for you.
What?
We've been doing this for quite some time. We're in a very niche industry. We're in a very niche content space on YouTube where it's very, very difficult to create content because we're not content creators. We are running a business and the cameras just follow us. There's no acting. There's nothing that's scripted. So going back to that, where do you see this going forward? Have we hit some type of, I would say, plateau?
Oh, we definitely plateau, absolutely. Because again, I never even imagined that we could reach these heights. Right. I always imagined the pool of watch enthusiasts or people that would watch this sort of content is tiny. Then you take somebody like Nico, who's reached over 1.5 million subscribers. We're at 400,000 subscribers. This every day blows my mind that people are still watching and still into this. Now, yes, our views have not gone crazy. We probably only have a handful of videos that have reached over 1 million views. I constantly believe in I guess evolving or pivoting, however you want to see it. Some things like this podcast is one of those,
trying
pivots.
New things.
It's just
constantly trying
how
new
do people want to consume their content? Now, I always felt very confident about the behind the scenes. Like people, this is such like a dark, area, where people don't have access. They don't see what's going on here, So if we just give them a little bit, shed a little bit of light about what we do here and how we do it, they'll be interested. Now, yes, after probably we're probably 2 years into this, there's only so much that you could show, and there's only so much that we could do. So a lot of this stuff does get boring. That's why we have, one channel that introduces like the actual, like the educational, the informational content, where this is the lifestyle, the behind the scenes, this is what we do. It's a constant evolution, so I don't really know where we're gonna keep going, but I'm not ready to put it to rest yet. Like, we will kill gray market at some point. I mean, it can't live forever. But there'll be like an evolution,
something else. Yeah, interesting where it goes from there, because a lot of the people that I deal with it just can't be shown on camera. So you only see literally just a fraction of what you can see, and that's I think the hardest part, because in you look at a reality show, I don't know, Real Housewives or whatever, they show everything.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They show everything.
But I also feel like they produce a lot of that. Like,
they do produce a lot of it.
She said this about you. Yeah. Like, we don't do any of that stuff. I think we should. So I just started saying to Marco what Alex said about it. That would be interesting to do.
Oh, that would get real dirty.
I kind of feel like, so my whole thing, like David Ogilvy is like the original marketer. Like, this guy is a marketing genius. He said in one of his books that the people you are marketing to, or the people that you're showing your content to, is never a standing army. It's always a marching army. Like, we're getting new people every single day. That an episode that we put out 2 years ago could be seen by somebody new today. That's like, oh my God, this is awesome. I mean, we constantly get like these emails and comments like, I just binge watched the whole series. That's my goal. My goal is to constantly just get new people while at the same time trying to entertain our existing people. And if tomorrow we get so we just put out a clip. I wanted to test out putting a clip from an actual episode on our, on the Roman Charf channel to see how many new people does it bring in. Brought in.
How do you measure that?
So when you put out a video, it'll show you how many existing viewers, like existing subscribers watch it compared to new people. I think we had like 6,600 new viewers. It's not a huge number. It's actually pretty shitty, relatively speaking. And, an actual gray market episode gets a whole lot more new viewers. But I was like, okay, these are 6,600 new people that have seen our content for the first time, and how many of them are going to come back for a full episode or are going to subscribe? I'm just constantly trying to get new people into the world.
And you have more people joining every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Watch dealers, because they notice that this is the best form of marketing that there is. It's us being as transparent with them as possible. Showing the day-to-day business and basically giving people a look at who we are, and that always makes people want to do business with you. We have 8 different salespeople upstairs with 8 completely different personalities.
I think as long as we want to earn, people's trust, we have to show them who we are and what we do. Do you know what I mean? That's why, social takes you a certain, extent. Like Instagram, TikTok, very, very short, attention span type content, whereas YouTube long form videos will really give people a view of who you are. Do they want to do business with you? Do they trust you? And are you here for the long term? So ultimately, at some way or another, we're going to keep doing content, long form content for as long as we can, really. But I do think that there's a bunch of different content types that we can be putting out there.
I'm excited for it. Always new things. Always something to look forward here at LuxuryBazaar. You walk into usually people come into their work and their day is pretty much identical. It's like Groundhog Day already. You don't know. That door opens, you have no idea what you're walking into. No idea. So
hopefully,
it's exciting.
Hopefully tomorrow is better than today.
Yeah.
That's how every day should be. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let me bring Marco in. What's up, Marco?
Hey, Avi.
How's it going?
How are you?
Good. Thank you for taking a couple minutes of your very busy day, to sit down and talk.
Sure.
Just to introduce you, this is a very conversational thing, no script or anything. I do want to reflect on the episode that dropped, last week. Tell me your point of view on this.
Yeah, so to put it into context, right, because I think that's really the most important point is, first of all, whenever you agree to a deal with a dealer, the price that you agree or shake on, right, and the whole terms of it, right? If he's selling you a John Mayer Daytona 2019 unworn full set, like it was in this case, the price we agreed on is the price, right? That's it. So for me to get a watch, right, that then is not technically a full set, it just it's not what we agreed on, which didn't sit right with me. And what the dealer did was take advantage of the situation, because this customer I've done a lot of business with, and he wants me to essentially just ship the watch directly to him. right? So you have to imagine I'm basically putting my trust in this dealer to ship the watch properly as a full set.
Is that what happened? He shipped it to the client?
Directly
like
to the client,
wow.
right? So when it gets to the client, he gets a small box that's also dirty. Like if I showed you, we can put up pictures. I have
It just
pictures
makes
of
you
the
look horrible.
actual box. Literally coffee stains all over the box, right? So the customer is obviously not happy. The watch was in perfect condition, but at the end of the day, it wasn't the correct box, which cost $600 for me to get. And then I get the whole spiel like, oh, if you don't like it, we'll send it back to me. Like, you knew and you're taking advantage of the situation where the customer is getting the watch directly. I expressed that to you beforehand. You said it was full set. You didn't honor your end of the deal. So it's like, why should I then have to honor it? But Adrian explained
Did you have that conversation with the guy? Like, hey, you sent a shitty box.
I told him, I'm like, listen, I need a new box for it. This is not what
And
we
what did
agreed.
he say? He said no?
He said no, absolutely not. Either ship us the watch back or you know, like take it as
But
is.
you didn't have the financial conversation with him about like, I'm going to deduct
I did. I said,
$600.
yeah, I'm going to deduct $600.
What did he say?
Well, he's just like, no, just ship the watch back to me. I'm like, well, listen, I can't pass this as a full set, and the box that you provided to me is no good. He's like, well, I sent you a picture, right? And that was when we actually got into an argument because he sent me this crop picture of a Rolex box, right?
Inside, yeah.
Of the watch inside, like, you can't even see what size box it is, right? So very, very shady
can't see
stuff.
coffee stains.
Right, very, very shady stuff. It is what it is. It was handled and dealt with. Listen, at the end of the day, I didn't like the way that he did it. I think he was wrong and I was also wrong because I can't just make the decision like, listen, it is what it is. You're out $600.
No, but if you had that conversation, like if you had that conversation with him, like, I'm going to pay you $600 less. So according, like the video doesn't show that. The video says, or at least it looks like, I'm just going to short him $600.
No, I didn't
without him knowing.
Absolutely, no. Yeah. That's not the conversation that went down, right? So I told him, I'm like, listen, I'm taking out $600 because I have to go and order another box for it, right? That's the price of a large Rolex box, and again, that eats away at our profit margin, and that's the idea. But yeah, I didn't just make that decision.
That's because that's what it looks like on the video. It looks like, I'm just going to I'm going to send him a wire for $600 less. So the fact that you're clearing that up is really
sure.
good.
I think what some people don't realize too, these are edited videos, right? Like we're not going to provide you full content. We want to make it fast, entertaining, right? We're going to skip right to the arguments, but yeah, listen, at the end of the day, the customer got the correct box.
Is this a dealer you've done business with before?
Never. It was the first time, right? So it was like, all right, like you're taking advantage of the situation.
I'm assuming it's last time as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really a good practice, you know.
Listen, it is what it is, right? That's part of being in the
Especially if you had to drop ship directly to the client. That makes you look like an asshole.
Thankfully,
and it's worth more, like that.
Listen, if it was just like a regular, not even that, even if it was just like a 10,000, it's still not right. You know what I mean? I can't sit there and say that it's right because at the end of the day, the customer paid 70-odd thousand for a John Mayer Daytona, right? He expects one thing, and rightfully so. He paid for the damn thing. You know what I mean? So for you not to deliver on that, it makes me look bad, but I think it just reflects on
the fact that you placed your trust in this person, you know, to make you look as good as you were supposed to be.
Sure.
And he took advantage of that. Really sucks. Obviously, we had some time to look at some of the comments, and a lot of the comments, you know, well, some of the comments are positive and good. A lot of the comments are negative.
Sure.
Tell me something that really hit hard. You know, if you even read them. I don't know if you read them.
No,
I wouldn't. I mean, they suck.
You know what it is, right? Like the thing is I had a YouTube channel prior to starting here, and I got some really nasty stuff thrown my way. So I have pretty thick skin. It just sucks, like when you read that stuff, because people can be pretty nasty. Yes. You know what I mean? Listen, generally speaking, I don't let it affect me. Actually, I use it like as motivation kind of thing. It's like, okay, it's a great motivator. But listen, I hear what they're saying. Sometimes I am very, very stubborn. I'm extremely hard-headed. I don't listen. Like,
that's a personality trait.
It's part of the process of evolving, right, too. And I think that's where Roman and Adrian specifically have helped me a lot. Obviously, listen, I can't be perfect all the time, right?
Most of the time.
I'm still always, you know, I'm 24/7 stressed out. I have a lot to take on, so sometimes I can overreact or misreact is the way. So
which
it's
people
always
don't really see that, and it's hard to, you know, because. And I asked you to show more of your personal life, which is almost non-existent, you know, on social media.
It's very true.
Like,
that is true.
The fact that just because you're home doesn't mean that you're not working. Tell me what your day's like. You know, morning to night, what's your day like?
Yeah, so I try to wake up around like 7 a.m. Usually that's when I can get in touch with Hong Kong customers, European customers. And then I will come to the office around 9. Usually it's emails, WhatsApps, Instagrams from the night before, and then I also start going through the buy portal. So any watches that come through the buy portal, I start making offers on them. I get to the office, I go through kind of any open tickets from people who inquired from the kind of day before, night before, and then kind of just go about my daily process, right? Which is monitor the chats, monitor new people who are responding to me, offering me watches. I mean, it's a full day process. Like I just never stop working to the point where usually I'm up till sometimes like 11 o'clock midnight working, and I get up at 7 o'clock the next day. So that's usually how it is. Especially now in the market where there's probably a lot more uncertainty, people have a lot more questions. Prices are more like all over the place than ever before. It's constant process of explaining and kind of coaching and trying to help customers make the best decision possible.
People reach out, hey, how much can you get me this watch for? They'll send you, whether it's a reference number or an image.
Sure.
Somebody does that, first time client, never heard, they DM you on Instagram, you've never met them before, never spoken to them. How much can you get me this watch for? What's your process there? Yeah,
so in terms of like how much we can get it for, first I will go through kind of old customers that have reached out to me about wanting to sell that. Because if I can, rather than helping out a dealer, I'd rather help out a customer of LuxuryBazaar, right? That's my thought process, especially because, I maximize their value and it could lead to potential business in the future. That's my way of thinking. If I can't think of or find anything on that end, or no customer has one, then I'll reach out to kind of dealers or see what's in the pipeline of what might be coming in and go about the process of quoting that. For a source sale, it's very tough. You know what I mean? Like you're working on maybe a 5% margin. That's what people don't realize, right? So, let's say you offer it for a certain price, somebody else has it for slightly cheaper. It's not because I don't want to give you a better price. It's because I can't, you know what I mean? Like literally, I just can't get.
How do you deal with somebody that says, how much can you give me this for? And then 10 minutes later, how much can you give me this for? How much can you give me that one for? What's the best price you could do on this one? Where it's numerous requests from the same person without a single decision being made, like, okay, can you do this one for this much? Like something without like a buying,
You know what? So the thing is I will never discriminate against somebody asking me for a quote. Actually, the biggest sale I ever did here was 2 watches, a Rainbow Daytona and a Patek Philippe Aquanaut in rose gold. I sold both of them. I think the total was like $520,000 to a customer who had done exactly that on Instagram. I went back probably 6 months quoting him on watches like consistently, right? And eventually he ended up buying both those watches. The biggest sale I've ever had here at LuxuryBazaar was because I always stay true. Like whenever somebody inquires to me about something, I will always give them the time of day no matter what, right? Maybe they don't like my answer, but it's not like, again, it's never personal. That's just business or the market, or you know what I mean? That's just, there's nothing I can do or say. That's just what it is. But I will always give people the time of day. That's one thing that I will at the end of the day, I'm only as good as how I treat my customers or people who reach out to me. And that's why I always try to go above and beyond to provide people the best value possible.
Tell me something you want, our viewers to know that, people don't know about yourself. I'm sorry, this is turning out to be more like question answer, but I want to expose like who you are, like
listen, it's a good question. I can tell you one thing. I never have bad intention. Maybe sometimes I could come across in a bad way, but it's just because I'm very passionate. That's really all it comes down to. So my approach may not always be the best. Actually, it's probably almost never the best, but I always care, and I care a lot, especially for something like this, because I've been into watches now going on 8 years, and I want to always provide people the best value possible, right? That's one thing that I pride myself on. I'm not 100% right all the time, but what I want to do is help you make the best decision possible at that specific time, right? And that's what I try to tell people is, I'm not perfect, but I am extremely passionate, and if I don't have the answer, I will do my damnedest to get it for you.
Okay, it's good enough reason for some people to want to do business with you. You know, you're not going to win them all, but hopefully you win some of the people.
Yeah.
And so far,
it's worked out pretty well.
Based on last week's episode, it's worked out pretty well. Sure. I mean, you're definitely, number one?
Yeah, of the juniors, yeah. I still have a ways to go to reach like Anna and Adrian, but
that's going to take us.
Hey, if you ain't first, you're last. So you got to keep working.
If you don't win, you lose.
Exactly.
All right, Marco, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to try to bring Anna in and see if she'll sit down with me for a sec. What's up, Anna? How are you?
What's up, Bobby? What's going on?
I'll shake your hand because I shook the other.
Oh, you
guys'
did?
hands.
Not like we've been talking all day.
No, I haven't seen you all day.
Yeah.
Welcome to the new podcast setup. I know you're not the biggest fan of this.
I'm not.
Why? Why not? Why don't you want to be public? If publicity gets you more customers, let's say, more awareness of who you are and people that would want to do business with you.
It's not that I don't want to be public, it's that I hate the cameras. Every time the camera.
Why, they add 10 pounds?
Well, of course, that too.
I feel like our cameras reduce.
No, they don't. No, it's not the pounds. Although if they deduct 10 pounds, that would be nice. It's just every time I see a camera, I'm like, what? What was I saying?
I need to watch what I say
Yeah.
and be nice.
No. It's like the reason you always see me like from my office is because if I turn on the camera and just do my thing, I don't. You know, it doesn't affect me. It's just me.
Yeah.
But if somebody comes in with the camera and they're like, Anna, what do you think about this? Like right now.
Then you have to be like on call and be like, okay, let me think about what I'm going to say.
It's not. It's like a psychological thing.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
You give everybody a hard time with all the content that they shoot of
Yes.
Because you want it to be perfect, and we don't know what perfect actually means.
It's not that I want it to be perfect. It's just I guess I don't feel comfortable with it.
Well, get comfortable. This is our life. I wanted to bring you in just to see kind of like, you're probably still, top salesperson. You reach very, very high numbers. You transact with a lot of watches and a lot of customers. What's going on? What are people looking for these days? Like where's the market? What should people be looking for? Just give me an overall.
Should people? Everything.
Yes, everything. But like, if you were on the customer side, for example, like, what are you buying today?
So I get a lot of referrals from my repeat customers, and when they call me, typically they know what they want. If they don't, I always try to kind of learn about a little bit of what they like, what they do, and then kind of try to find a better choice for them to buy. Like somebody calls me about, about a Royal Oak, the newest 50th anniversary, I'm always gonna kind of offer them the older version first because that's where the value is.
Makes more,
for me.
Makes more financial sense. Yeah.
Yes, and of course I'll give them all the details. I'll give them all the facts about both pieces, the benefits and disadvantages of both, and then have them make their own decision. But I like to I don't like to say educate, but just give them the facts and then have them make their own decision. I don't like to kind of steer people to a certain direction because at the end of the day, they have to buy what they like.
Yeah, they need to be happy with it a week.
And I don't want them like 2 weeks from now, I'm like, oh, that Anna, she made me buy this and now look at this. And by the way, I do this not because, I do this because on my own conscience. I would never steer anybody to a different, to somewhere that I would like them to go, just because of the profit or anything else. For me, my conscience would not allow to make you buy something just because I want you to buy it. If you ask me about it, yes. If this is something that you like, I'm going to tell you maybe it's not, the best piece that you should have. Maybe there's going to be a better deal down the line. But if you want it, of course, I'm going to sell it. I'm not going to say no.
So if somebody calls you and asks you, I want this specific model, and then you say, okay, no problem. And then they say, what do you think? Do you think I should buy this one?
And guess what?
It's like, oh,
so
crap.
if somebody says, what do you think of it? I'd say, well, what are you buying it for? No. So that's very important. If somebody tells me this is the piece that I've been wanting for a long time and I've been waiting for the right moment, I'm not going to tell them no. But if it's somebody I just like how it looks. So then I'm going to be like, but you shouldn't get that. You should get maybe this, maybe that, but I'm not going to let them, somebody that doesn't know all the facts. But of course, if somebody calls me about something particular and that this is something that they want, of course I'm going to let them buy it.
Of course.
That's my job.
What you do for a living.
Yes. But guess what? Me being honest, that's how I get the referrals and people coming back to me.
I mean, you would hope to have somebody that's going to be
just
real
because
with
I'm honest, it doesn't mean that whatever you buy from me, you're always going to make money on, or in the future you're not going to lose on those. I wish I knew.
You can't control that.
Otherwise, I would have a full safe full of watches.
Any trends you're seeing? Anything people are leaning towards a certain brand, a certain model? Now that prices have adjusted.
Just this week, day dates, gold day dates.
36s or 40s?
40s, green dial, white gold, rose gold.
Do you think it's because the prices kind of came back down to earth, or?
Yes, that's why. I mean, a lot of Submariners, Smurfs, Hulks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the usual, but then again, you can pick up a really nice Smurf, a white gold Submariner, for probably in the 40 range. And
how much was it before?
I mean, before the price, well, it's discontinued. So before everything was up. So it was in the 50s, 60s, depending on the condition.
Anything stand out as like, this just got back to a price that really, really makes sense for it? You know, like if you had to recommend, like I came to you and said, look, I want to buy a watch, I want to buy something that's like, you know, now it's finally reasonably priced, you know, where it wasn't before. Anything stand out?
I mean, I don't see, everything is not where it was 2 years ago or a year.
I mean, but some took like $100,000 drop, where compared to others, they took a $10,000 drop.
I mean, it really depends on the case-by-case basis. Like, say, if the Royal Oak, the Blue Dial Royal Oak went up to over 100,000, and now you can buy one for in the 50 range. Vacheron Overseas, we owned a few of them for over 100,000, and now they're selling in mid-50s.
Yeah.
So you can probably you could probably pick it up at a authorized dealer, actually.
I want to talk to that. You were in my office today, and you noticed something I've written on my wall.
I don't remember.
It's is it fuck
the
wait list?
Wait list or something?
I think that's what I have written. Fuck the wait list.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck a wait list.
Fuck a wait list.
You asked me what that was. I told you it's a series I want to do of like watches that are at or below retail. Anything stand out? Like anything that you can think of right now off the top of your head that is at or below retail?
I guess Oysterflex,
Daytonas. Except for the Meteorite, I'm assuming.
And what I'm saying, not the one that just released, obviously. Gold Submariners, very close to retail, like white gold Submariner.
I mean, again, if you take retail plus tax, you know.
So, again, pre-owned, if you want to buy pre-owned, you can find a better deal.
Yeah.
When you said fuck the wait list, there's no wait list. If you want to buy something, you can get anything.
If you are actually going to an AD and you want to try to get it at retail, brand new, if we could serve you with something brand new, an unworn condition, at or under retail.
I mean, at this point,
because you can't go into the AD and get it.
You can't. At this point, I would just try anything, because any gold Submariners or anything like that, Oysterflex, because you never know. We get these things, they may be pre-owned, but it doesn't mean that they're used. So we can have good deals.
Other than your honesty and care, which every salesperson in the sales industry will say about themselves, that I care. And
of course. Again, this is it's funny, because every time I say it to a client, well, not in that way, but like I try to.
I care. I'm honest.
Like I'm thinking, I don't say that because I know they're not going to believe me. Like there's no point of me saying it.
It's too cliche.
But guess what? People that deal with me, they know that. So it's.
What would you say, other than those two things, and I don't know if there is anything else, but what would you say is a reason for somebody to choose doing business with you over somebody else?
I mean, I have a lot of experience. I actually overheard you talking to Marco about the situation with the box and whatever. My take on that, when you start this business, like every week, every month, you find something new. Yeah. Like even to me, I have a new situation happens to me every single time. How do you avoid that? You, right now, I'm sure Marco learned his lesson, If you only knew how many times I had this was long before, maybe 15 years ago, when I drop shipped a watch and that dealer didn't deliver whatever you promised. First of all, I don't trust anybody. Let's just start with that. It doesn't, if I deal with you, and I've been dealing with you for years, there's a handful of people that I can actually drop ship a watch. Otherwise, I have to deliver it here until I see it, examine it. I don't do that. Exactly.
You learned your lesson.
I learned my lesson many times. Yeah. So that's just one example.
Well, that is actually probably the best answer. Experience. Other than being honest, other than being caring, you have more experience than the average person.
I've seen everything. Any case scenario.
Okay. Did you watch last week's episode?
No.
It's funny because nobody here really watches.
No, I actually never watch any episodes. Why? I get the live show.
That's true. You do get the live show. You see it in real time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's that. Well, thank you very much for coming in and talking to me. Is there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to bring up?
No, I'm okay.
No? Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. This is we're testing things out, just kind of conversational and seeing how people react to it, if people like it. By the way, if you do like it, make sure to let us know in the comments. Make sure to share this with your friends. I want to see if you like this new format, and if you do, we'll keep doing it on a weekly basis. If you don't,
we'll stop.
Unsubscribe, watch a different channel. Maybe we'll stop. Other than that, have a great day. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.